Hi everyone, I was recently asked if I'd done a video for a mask and I was actually waiting for some elastic. Anyway, it's finally arrived, so in today's video that's what I'm going to be showing how to make. So for this project you're going to need two pieces of fabric which measure approximately 12 inches wide by 11 inches high, and you'll need two pieces of elastic which measure around about 9.5 inches. So for this project I'm going to be using my fabric mat and fabric blade for my SDX machine, but if you have a CM model machine you could use a high-tack support sheet stuck to an old mat and use your standard blade, and that would cut just as well. I've already got the pattern saved in my machine, so I'm going to go to retrieve data from the machine, scroll to the last page and bring up the elements for the face covering. Now you need 4 pieces, 2 for the outer and 2 for the lining, but I'm just going to cut 2 at a time, so I'm deleting 2 of the shapes and then I'm just rotating these shapes to hopefully get them to fit on my piece of fabric better in readiness for cutting. So I'm just working my way through the process. I'm going to scan the mat and then I can position the 2 shapes over where the fabric is on my 12 by 12 fabric mat. So I've done the background scan, and because I'm using dark fabric I can't see the patterns, so I'm just going into the wrench icon, changing the background to light, and then I can position these 2 shapes so that they don't overlap and they fit on my piece of fabric and that they will cut out without any problems. Okay, so I've got the fabric positioned. I'm going to say OK and cut and start. Okay, so I checked that it had cut through without any problems before I removed the mat, and as you can see the 2 pieces have cut here beautifully. So all as I need to do now is remove these from the mat and repeat the process with the lining fabric. So a quick tip for you here, you can see on the mat where the darker fabric has left the outline. I use Huggies Pure and they're nice and thick, and I find that these clean my mats really well. So basically all as I do, I start and work across the mat and just gently rub, and this will lift up all the fibres that have been left behind and any other debris that is on your mat. Just rub all over your mat. I tend to do mine in sections, like a quadrant at a time, and work across horizontally and then turn the mat. You can see here what's come off just from that quick once over. Find a new clean piece of your wipe, and it's on here, it's picked up some stray thread I didn't even know was there, and then just work your way across again so that you're covering the mat both horizontally and vertically. Leave the mat to air dry for maybe 5 or 10 minutes and then put the clear plastic protective sheet back over it, and your mat will be good to go for the next time you want to use it. Okay, so just to save some time, I've actually overlocked the short end of all 4 pieces. If you've not got an overlocker, just do a zigzag stitch, or you could turn under a 1/4 or 1/2 inch and turn under again. It's entirely up to you. And then what I'm going to do on the lining pieces, I've roughly measured about 1 inch down. I'm going to fold that over and give that a quick press towards the wrong side. So if your fabric's got a pattern on, this is plain so it doesn't really matter, but if you've got a pattern, you know, fold in about 1 inch towards the wrong side on the lining. And then for your outer pieces you want to fold in around about 1/4 to 1/2 inch and press, and then fold over about 1/2 inch and press, and do that on both outer pieces. And again you're folding that towards the wrong side. So around about 1/4 to 1/2, and then you can use your first one to measure if you want to, line it up on top, and then you know that hopefully you've got the same distance. And then these are just ready for sewing now. This is a really simple project. Okay, so I've just got my machine threaded up with dark thread. It doesn't, just use something that's going to work with your fabric, but I'm using dark for the outside, so I'm just going to keep it all dark. You want to take your lining pieces and put them right sides together. So if yours have got a right and a wrong side, mine's just plain fabric. So basically I'm doing mine so that the fold I've folded over, you can see here on the outside on both pieces. And then I'm just going to sew round the curve section of the two pieces. So I'm just going to line the presser foot up with the edge of my fabric, and I've just got my machine set to a regular straight stitch and start stitching. I'm just going to do forwards and backwards. I'm going to slow the speed down. I've been using this for an embroidery project, so the speed was on pretty high. And then repeat for the outer fabric. So I'm going to line them up so that the folded edges that I pressed are together, showing on the outside, and then repeat. Okay, so this is how they're looking now. So I'm just going to clip the curves with some small pointy scissors. Don't cut through your stitches, obviously, just all around the curve. You could trim this back with pinking shears, that would do the same type of thing. And then you don't have to do this, but I'm going to just give it a quick press down that seam. Okay, so you're going to get your two pieces of fabric and you're going to put them right side together. Start by lining up the centre seam that you've just sewn and pin or clip. Then on your outer fabric, open your outer fabric out fully. Those press lines are just there to help as a guide for later. But on your lining fabric, keep your fold that we pressed in. And then just line up the fabric and clip it together. Across the long edges only. So it should look like this, and we're going to start sewing from where the pink lining is here and go along to the other end. Then we're going to turn it round and do the same on the opposite long end. So that's how it's looking so far. Then I'm just going to turn it round and repeat this on the other side. So line up your centre stitching, pin or clip, fully extend your main fabric, but leave your lining fabric so you've got the fold coming inwards. Pop it under your machine and start stitching. Okay, so this is what you've got now. So now you're going to turn it right side out through these open short ends. Just run your finger along those seams. And then you might want to just give this a quick press with the iron. So this is what it's looking like now. So where you've got your outer fabric and it's already creased from where we started, you're going to fold that over once. And then it's going to want to naturally turn in because of how we've sewn it. And then you're going to fold it over twice, but before you stitch it down, you're going to put your elastic in here. So you're going to get your piece of elastic, slip it into where the fold is and fold it over, and you're just going to stitch along this bottom edge so that the elastic can move, and you're going to do that on both sides. So you fold in. Remember, this was folded in twice, the outer fabric, so fold it in once and then it'll naturally want to kind of turn in because of the shape going narrower, and then fold it over, and before you stitch it down, you're just going to get your elastic, just place that in there and then stitch along here as close to this edge as possible. Now, if you want to, you could leave the elastic out and then thread it through afterwards, but I'm using very fine elastic and I just think this is going to be the easiest way to do it. So I'm just going to start off very slowly going down this edge, and I'm going to do a couple of back tacks and then come along and back tack at the end. So that's what it's looking like now, and this can freely move, okay? So I'm just going to repeat the same on the opposite end. Okay, so this is what we've got now. Just clip some of the threads away. So here's your mask, and then basically, because this moves, just tie your ends together as close to the end as possible initially, and then depending on who this is for, they can undo this and tie it tighter if they want to. Basically, if you just tie the knot and then slide it down to the bottom, it will actually pull within the seam if you want it to, once it's tied to the right size, so you can hide the knot inside like so. Just give it a quick press again now. And there it is, done. A quick and simple mask, easy to make, cut on your ScanNCut machine. So I hope you found that helpful. Please give the video a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. And I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.